Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite cold here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we gather here again at the heart of our financial markets, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, to ring the bell in celebration of yet another historic milestone. At the beginning of this administration nearly 3 years ago, I made a clear and firm commitment that we would build our nation by mobilizing local resources, encouraging a culture of savings, and channeling those savings into productive investments. The successful origination, structuring, and listing of the Lindsay 003 infrastructure asset-backed security, the first of its kind in Kenya, raising over 44 billion, is a landmark achievement by any measure. It affirms our confidence in market-based financing and demonstrates how we can sustainably fund large-scale infrastructure through our capital markets. This feat joins our G2G fuel supply innovation that many countries are now learning from us. The first ever asset-backed infrastructure securitization program that has raised over 175 billion off balance sheet, and our currency diversification strategy that is gradually reducing our borrowing costs. Today's listing reflects not only the deepening of our capital markets, but also the innovation and sophistication now driving financial solutions that respond to the evolving needs of both the public and private sectors. Most importantly, it confirms our capacity to mobilize substantial domestic capital to finance strategic national priorities, reduce our reliance on external borrowing, and strengthen Kenya's economic resilience. The proceeds from this listing will directly support the construction of the Talanta Sports City Stadium, a compelling example of how financial markets can accelerate national transformation. The Talanta Sports City marks Kenya's first large-scale, purpose-built international stadium project in more than 40 years. The last comparable undertaking was the construction of Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, completed in 1987, ahead of the All Africa Games. Since then, Kenya has relied on aging infrastructure, with no new international standard stadium built from the ground up until now. With a 60-seater capacity, Talanta Sports City is not merely filling that long-standing gap. It is redefining the nation's sporting landscape. This modern, world-class complex is designed to host international tournaments, foster local talent, and restore Kenya's reputation as a sporting powerhouse. I commend the Nairobi Securities Exchange for the remarkable feat of facilitating 3 listings in a single month. This momentum reflects renewed energy, strong leadership, and strategic clarity. I also extend my congratulations to Lindsay, Finco Trust, and Liaison Group partners for their innovation in financial structuring. Ladies and gentlemen, the stock exchange is a critical gauge of economic health and investor sentiment. The strong recovery of the NSE, with market capitalization now standing at 2.5 trillion, reflects the soundness and consistency of our economic policies. Some of the choices we have made have not been easy and at times not popular, but they have been necessary. They have been strategic and forward-looking. These decisions have helped us stabilize the economy, restore investor confidence, and lay a firm foundation for growth into the future. Today, both local and international investors are looking at Kenya with fresh optimism and renewed trust. 2 weeks ago, during my visit to London in the United Kingdom, where 4 global giants, Lloyd's of London, Bupa International, Africa Specialty Risk, and Africa Finance Corporation signed their way into Kenya, I reaffirmed our commitment to expanding the depth and appeal of Kenya's capital markets. A key plank of this strategy is the diversification of state-owned enterprises through initial public offerings on the NSE, unlocking value, improving governance, and attracting long-term capital. We are implementing a structured, time-bound divestiture program, starting with the listing of the Kenya Pipeline Company. I expect the Cabinet to grant approval to this IPO shortly, and the Privatization Commission this morning is working on the final approval, and by September, by God's grace, we will have that listing here. Ladies and gentlemen, there is compelling evidence that privatization is necessary to eliminate inefficiencies and raise the standards of governance in our public enterprises. While other nations in the region have moved boldly and strategically to divest and reinvigorate their economies, Kenya has not undertaken a single privatization in over a decade. That is about to change. To further strengthen our capital markets, the National Treasury is developing a minimum disclosure and listing framework for all public interest entities operating in Kenya. We are raising the bar to require public entities to begin disclosing standardized financial and operational data in line with capital markets standards. Within 1 year of initial disclosure, they will be required to list at least 20% of their equity on the NSE. This reform will promote transparency, improve governance, expand local ownership, democratize wealth, and give Kenyans the opportunity to directly participate in our country's economic success. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury will immediately establish an industry council to guide this process. The Secretary for National Treasury will guide this process on the appropriate legal instruments for adoption. I am told already that there is a committee of experts that has been set up, and I hope Waziri is going to work with the industry to make sure that the council is created, either out of the committee of experts or a much more expanded group.